Brian.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming to Hong Kong U. I think I have seen many familiar faces here. Very happy to see many colleagues from different institutions. I and Parco have been introducing the core university English, one of the biggest courses in university, to all of you in different hub locations at PolyU and CityU last year. And today I would like to share with you something new, right? The project of learning transferability. This is an in-house CAES project, and it's only part of the team because we finished the pilot study with CUE, Core University English course, and also education course. And because of the time constraint, I would like to share with you the findings of the pilot study of CUE. And we will be working with different program coordinators and core team members. Some of you are here, all right, to support us in the coming semester. Okay, let me introduce my project members. Parco, he's the coordinator of the Core University English course. Alice Yao, she's the deputy coordinator of Core University English course. And Locky, a very important person, senior research assistant of this project. Okay, let me show you the rundown of the presentation. I'll take you through to the project objectives, quickly I'll tell you more about why we initiated this project, and introduce to you the research gap, the project scope, research design, key findings, implications, and towards the end I would like to show you the challenges and what we'll be doing in the future. And this sharing is a show and tell section, and we'll mainly focus on the framework of instrumental measurement for undergraduate course review to prepare for the evaluation of learning transfer. And we're using 4 variables, 4 constructs. They are content relevance, understanding of learning, transfer applicability, and transfer outcomes. And Locky will be introducing these 4 constructs to you in a minute. And this framework is very, hopefully, will be useful for especially project coordinators, course coordinators, to develop better pedagogy and motivate learners to be more engaged in transfer in their university study. All right, project title. We've done the pilot study last semester, from late October last year to August, this summer. And this is the project title. And today I would like to focus on the findings on core university English. And the main study we've just been started from this September onwards. It's a 3-year study. And in the coming semester, we'll be working with different program coordinators from Faculty of Education, Social Sciences, Engineering, Arts, and Architecture. All right, let me show you the course development cycle. I'm sure you may be very familiar with these because in your university, you may have similar practice. All of the courses, our CES courses, undergo revision annually during the summer. And in the course revision, we're based on course feedback from students, from CertTESOL, student evaluation of teaching and learning, from the student staff consultative committee meeting, and also from the external examiners. We need to respond to all these feedback in the summer, and also to improve our course. And that's why during the summer, we're going to go through this course revision. And we're going to implement the changes in semester time, right? In the meantime, the faculty, we need to respond to faculty changes in the curriculum. So we need to cater for different stakeholders' needs. And as there are over 30-some courses in CAES, and the development process will take time, and the pilot of this study, learning of transferability, has already been completed in CUE, CAES 1000 course, the general English for academic purposes course, and 2 education English in the discipline courses. And in the next triennium, hopefully we're going to finish up all the rest of the courses. All right, I'm going to pass the time to Alice. She'll be taking you through to the core university English.
Thanks, Natalie. So good afternoon. I'm going to talk about the background of CAES 1000, which you may or may not have heard of. But this is definitely something new. This is a new logo design for this course, with an emphasis of 2 key components, that is the pencil representing writing, and the 2 keywords academic success. So CAES 1000, Core University English, also known as CUE, is an EAP course for 2,400 undergraduate first-year Hong Kong U students in each academic year. It is a stepping stone between secondary school English to university English, and it helps students to use academic English more effectively in their university studies. And then in this English learning pathway, there are a few stages which I'm going to illustrate later. The course aims to enhance students' academic English proficiency by introducing them to aspects of writing, speaking, reading, and listening, which cross-discipline, but are of academic register. So in this course, the students will learn a set of skills, including identify and distinguish between main arguments and supporting details in academic texts, expressing a critical academic stance, constructing clear and structured arguments with skillful integration of academic sources, and demonstrate control of grammatical accuracy and lexical appropriacy. So these academic English literacy skills are essential to students at different stages of their university studies. In their first year, students are also taking common core courses. To help students develop skills needed for these courses, topics and tasks in COE are designed to align with these courses. Topics students engage critically in COE are the 4 areas covered in these common core courses, namely scientific and technological literacy, humanities, global issues, China, culture, state, and society. As for tasks, as research done by our center has found that essays and reports are the most frequently assigned written tasks, while the tutorial discussions are the most frequently used speaking assessment. So that's why in the COE, we are focusing on reports, essays, and tutorial discussions. And then in the second, third, or fourth years, students will be taking English in the discipline courses, which equip students with communicative skills they need to participate in a particular disciplinary context. Despite the academic conventions of academic communications across disciplines, students still need the skill, for example, to present coherent argument, to present stance through hedging and also various kinds of evidence, and develop critical reading skills by identifying how an author's opinions are expressed. So these are the skills students will be equipped in COE, as mentioned earlier in the learning outcomes, and also in this new irresistible, fun, animated course video. So due to the time constraint, we're not able to show it to you now, but if you're interested and have time, please click the YouTube link and then take a look. So to investigate the extent of students' learned skills in COE transferred to these learning contexts, a research project led by Natalie was initiated. And then in the following parts, Natalie and Locky will talk about it in detail. So, Natalie.
Thank you. All right. Let me show you the project scope and research gap. As Alice mentioned, COE is closely aligned with the Common Core curriculum at Hong Kong U. So that's why the scope of the pilot study, we're going to evaluate the learning transfer from COE to Common Core courses, closely aligned with each other. That means we would like to know how students could transfer the learned skills from COE to their common courses. And actually, we did interview and online survey to investigate what kind of skills they find transferable, which skills they don't quite transferable, and the extent of transferability, right? And based on the findings, we're going to, or actually we did identify areas for improvement in the COE curriculum development. And our program coordinator will, will find this useful actually to make an informed decision of the curriculum changes. All right, you may want to know learning transfer in this project, definition of this project. When we teach something, we anticipate to a certain degree that students will make use of what they have been taught to other learning contexts, right? Near transfer or far transfer. And so students could apply the skills in the future class, or within the same class, in a future class, another course, or even in an area of the life beyond school, right? Actually, we're going to focus on, in this project, learning is the acquisition of knowledge and skills in certain given context. And we would like to enable students to recognize the similarities and differences in students' experiential growth and learning, and before reforming and transferring all these skills in other new learning contexts. Right? New situations. All right, what constitutes transfer? Professor Alan Havila actually is the external examiner of CAES. He gave a very good example. Reading, writing, connections, context. He explained that actually there's a space between what we teach and how students use what we teach. In fact, from our teacher's perspective, we need to fill the gap, fill the space between in order to enable transfer occurs, right? So how are we going to do it? So actually transfer is a movement between skills, how teachers play a role, or what roles teachers should play in order to fill the gap, and also what students should do in order to, make transfer occur. I'm going to explain it to you later. Transfer and EAP instruction are, according to Adam's definition, to help students acquire reading writing skills that they can apply or transfer to future source-based writing context beyond the writing course. If we teach reading writing skills in a writing course and we expect students to transfer the skills like how to make the argument, how to make the source, supporting sources in other learning contexts, not only in writing course, but in other courses, like in history course, in a reflective essay, or in other different areas. So that's why, say for example, if we're going to teach synthesizing skills in a writing class, and we not only expect students to apply synthesizing skills in a writing class, in a single class, and we would like them to apply or transfer the synthesizing skills from multiple sources in different areas, like say for example in a research paper, in dissertation, or in other learning contexts, right? Okay, in fact, we have been facing lots of challenges of promoting learning transfer. According to the literature, transfer is very difficult to achieve and very difficult to measure. And this is one of the barriers that we have been facing. How to actually measure or transfer a very not concrete construct. And so you see, learning and transfer are closely related, all right? How we're going to make students to understand more about transfer, or how to make transfer occurs, we need to make students to learn, or to understand what learning is. Successful learning does not automatically lead to successful transfer. They may learn something, but they may not know how to transfer, right? So teachers play a very important role. So transfer is difficult, very difficult to predict or control. So in this project, we're going to fill this gap, and we're going to make a more targeted and structured study to understand students' perceptions on the learned skills and the extent of learning transferability. And this project will only focus on students' perceptions. Right. But after the first round, this round of pilot study, and we know that teachers also play a very crucial role in learning transfer, and I want to share with you the findings. Okay, project deliverables. Hopefully by the end of the project, we're going to develop better learning and teaching materials, and also develop a framework of evaluative measurements for undergraduate course review to prepare for the evaluation of learning transfer in a general English for academic purposes course, and also English in the discipline courses. And also we're based on the as we're moving on to the main study from this semester, and we're going to collect more data from different English and discipline courses, and we may refine the framework to make it a better model. All right, this is a very useful book I would like to introduce to you. If you would like to know more about learning transfer and how to improve the writing and reading instruction, you can have a look at this book. Okay, let me pass to Locky, who will be talking about the research design, how we collect the data.
Thank you, everybody. Really quick. First, I have to find where the mouse is. All right. Very quick on the research design. Good. Right. So basically, we obviously will have to look into quantitative and qualitative data. For the quantitative data, as you can see, we actually surveyed over 650 students for both rounds, and in week 6 and in week 9. The response rate is pretty high, as you can see here, because we actually go into the classroom and conduct an e-survey, which we show them the QR code, and the form is a Google form, so everything is evaluated as soon as they key in all the buttons and stuff. Then for the analysis, we adopted a PLS-SEM algorithm or an approach, partially expressed. more detail on that part probably in June. But for now, we're just going to give you a brief look into that. Qualitative data, we did 5 focus groups for 11 CUE or Common Core students, Common Core yes, and 2 focus groups for Common Core teachers. Also, we have 2 individual interviews, and then we collected all these data. We did analysis, thematic analysis, and then we extracted all these data. Later, Parco will be presenting those qualitative findings to you. So, the purpose of the in-class e-survey I just mentioned was basically to assess the students' understanding of skills that we taught in the CAES 1000. Then to identify which kind of skills the students will be able to transfer to their Common Core courses, meaning how they will be able to apply them. And so we come up with 4 constructs out of a total of 81 different constructs from various disciplines. Understanding learning, then transfer applicability, content relevance, and transfer outcome. So these are the 4. And because we use the PLS, partial least squares SEM, this is how it will look like in the software. And the arrows pointing to each other means how they would affect each other in between the constructs. In coming up with these 4 constructs and the relations, we actually looked at a number of references coming from psychology, from business, and human resources. Obviously, also some from education. For those of you who are maybe interested in looking at transfer as well, human resource development, they have a huge pool of papers and articles on transfer, but they will call it training transfer. So that would be different terminology, but about the same thing that we look at. Here we have, just some details on the in-class e-survey. It's going to be 7 minutes, really quick, done on Google Form, and then some of the important parts of the e-survey. Skills taught in CUE, there will be 12 items, so we call it formative items, meaning that there are different skills, questions that they ask about specific skills that we teach them in CUE. We also have content relevance and transfer outcomes. These are reflective questions, which means that these questions are basically repetitive questions asked in different ways, just to make sure that the errors are kept low. Of course, we also did something that is not going to be put on the PLS SEM algorithm. These are the ranking of the top 5 skills, which are very, very useful for us to get to know what the students really think about the importance of various skills that we teach them. Very quickly, and when we do apply the algorithm to do all these statistical calculations, our focus would be on how each of these constructs will contribute to each other and how far or to what extent that these variables will affect each other, because it's very important to know, how large and how much each of them, for example, like understanding learning, will affect applicability. So we do need to have some R-squares to give us a better idea or clear idea. So I'm going to pass the time to Parco, and he's going to present to you the findings and implications. Thank you.
Okay, so before Parco, I'm going to present you some quantitative findings. A few quantitative findings. So the statistical data from both rounds of e-survey consistently reveal that all hypothesized relationships of the 4 constructs of the project have significant effects on one another. In particular, content relevance of CUE curriculum has a strong and direct effect on students' understanding of learning and their transfer outcomes. In the survey, the students were also asked 2 questions. The first question is to ask them to rank top 5 skills they consider necessary for Common Core study. And then the second question is to ask them to rank 5 skills they think they need to improve most. And then from the data shows that is in both rounds of e-survey, the results were also very consistent. That is, they show that academic writing was ranked the top skills in both questions, same as reading and speaking. But what is missing in the result is that in the first question is the skills necessary for the Common Core study is grammar and vocabulary. So the reason is that there could be no clear assessment criteria in the 2 language aspects in the Common Core courses, but the students think that they need to improve these skills the most. And then also, for the citation and referencing, they only appear in question 1 but not in question 2. Students don't think that they need to improve the skills most because these skills could be quite mechanical and easy to apply and master. So while these findings, with these findings, the course developers will understand more about students' perceptions and in EAP learning, and also have a clearer direction of curriculum development. While these studies reveal strong content relevance of COE curriculum to students' learning, the quantitative findings also suggest that students struggled with other academic English skills from COE to other learning contexts. So there is relatively weak strength of power of transfer in these academic skills, namely formulating a stance, citing other people's work, synthesizing ideas, using signposting, and structuring an academic text coherently. So by learning all these, the COE core team can revise the materials based on these areas and help students understand and apply these skills more confidently. So as introduced, this study also included the second phase, that is the focus group interview. So Parco will now present you some of our respondents' comments in the areas of writing, reading, speaking, and learning transfer.
So we have conducted 5 focus group interviews with students, and we asked students different kinds of questions in different areas and different domains. So to start with, here we go. This is the reading one. Now from the data here, it seems that students got quite a big problem in relation to writing. Okay? And sometimes they do not have a clear idea about how they can clarify or elaborate the argument. The problem is probably due to the fact that they don't really know how to read or extract useful information from the reading sources. Okay? So in the COE course, we teach students some very important reading techniques or reading approaches. So for example, mining, writerly reading, or also modeling based on what Natalie suggested. Okay? So from the interview data, it seems that students can transfer the reading and writing skills to their Common Core curriculum. So the students said, I think reading materials and also writing skills are really useful for my Common Core course. And then for speaking, it is really very interesting to know that students in their Common Core courses, where sometimes they have to know how to improvise and they have to know how to respond to challenging questions. So students want us to teach them these kind of skills, debating skills, as well as presentation skills. In fact, we do teach them critical reading skills and also how to respond to challenging questions. But the point is, we are not going to focus on debating skills, and also we're not focusing on presentation skills. Instead, we are focusing on group discussion skills, the same kinds of skills. And then for writing, some students find writing very challenging, very difficult. They might have problems if they have to write very concisely and very logically. So one interesting fact is that some students, they don't really need to read a lot, they don't really need to write a lot. So for example, business students, okay? But one very good thing is they still do appreciate all the skills they learned in COE, okay? They believe that when they learn some skill from COE, and in the future, they can apply what they learned from us in their daily life, and also in some of the different areas. Okay? And then during our data collection, students were asked to give some specific examples to illustrate how they apply the learned skills from COE to the Common Core curriculum or in some other learning context. And here we can see that in COE, students are taught how to construct their stance, how to integrate the arguments into the explanation, and then how to do citation verbally. So apparently, the student transfer skills adopted from COE to the other courses here. And then, so from the students' comment here, we can see that students do improve both the writing and speaking skills. So for example, they learned the citation and referencing skills from us. And then when they're writing the essay and reports in their own faculty and also the Common Core courses, they can apply the skills there. Okay? And then it is also pretty good to know that students from time to time reflect on the roots of their learning problems. So they say, for example, now when I look back, I realize that it was the poor structure of the essay and also lack of referencing skills this semester I have overcome this problem. So if you learn the skills here from CUE, and then you can finally apply to the different course. And then in CUE, we teach students different kind of skills, for example, how to link ideas across sentences, paragraphs. And then we also teach them how to write the sentences or paragraph in a coherent way. We also highlight the importance of conforming to a correct citation referencing style in the academic writing. So from the data here, it seems that the students can transfer the writing skills, the discussion skills to some other learning context in their studies. And then I'll pass the floor back to Natalie, and then she's going to talk about the challenges and also the way forward.
Thank you. All right, we have been facing lots of challenges. To summarize, these are the area. How to motivate students to apply and transfer learning skills from EAP or ESP courses to other learning contexts. They have learned something, all right? From the findings, we know that CUE, actually the content in terms of curriculum is very relevant to students' learning. They understand what we have taught them, how to motivate them to transfer, how to make them become more aware of learning transfer. I think that's a very important area that we need to do. And roles of teachers. After the pilot study, I'm very aware of our roles, right? EAP, ESP teachers, how I'm going to facilitate teaching, effective teaching in classroom instruction, and how to enable students to see the relevance of our EAP, ESP learning to their university studies. Say, for example, I think CUE teachers should understand more about students' perceptions and needs in EAP, as what we share with you, and also to understand more about the common core courses, the assessment types, the learning needs, the requirements. So in the classroom, teachers could let the students know these are what they will be learning or that they will be doing, and to draw the relationships or let them see the relevance of our EAP, ESP courses to the university studies. So that's something the program coordinator we need to do in teacher training in the future. So, and also another key challenge is how to enable course coordinators and teachers, team teachers, to understand more about the course effectiveness on student learning and how to achieve a good course effectiveness. All right, how can teachers promote transfer? According to Alice, he has this goal, how we approach our instruction. All right, since we will want to teach in a way that enables transfer to occur. Hong Kong U undergoes very rigorous quality assurance. We not only teach students something, we would like to help students learn and transfer what they have learned into practice. So completion of CUE is not the end of learning. We would like them to apply and transfer the skills in other learning contexts and areas. So we are assuming that what we teach is transferable, and how to make these all things transferable. And students will want to transfer what they have been taught, all right, according to the focus group interview and individual interview. And strategies. Help students develop effective transfer habits and skills. So within the classroom, we could ask students questions to let them reflect what they have learned, how they will apply or how they have applied the learned skills into other instruction. Make it more explicit in the classroom instruction. And encourage them to apply and transfer the skills via appropriate instructional activities. All right. So through small tasks or group project or assignment, we would like to make it more explicit. Offer more teacher training to support teachers to promote transfer in classroom instruction. So hopefully we could achieve this e-learning transfer in a more effective way. Okay, way forward. We have been undergoing the main study from this semester and also in the coming semesters. That's what we're going to achieve. To testify how our courses are well aligned with the faculty curricula, how students could successfully apply the skills learned, or what skills that they may not very successfully apply. All right, that's something we would like to improve. And based on the findings and analysis, and we plan to revise the course and develop new courses where necessary. Okay, thank you very much.